Hi guys, and welcome to Rathwulven Bushcraft. Today we're gonna talk about my personal top 10 tips for people that would like to start foraging. So if you want to learn something about that, stick around. Okay, before we talk about the 10 tips, just a quick recommendation. There's going to be a link in the information box with another video that's relating to this video, and this is all going to be about foraging in March. I will also put an info box right up here in the corner, one of these two, and just check that out if you want to see some practical demonstration, including some plants. But now we're just going to talk about the very basics and the 10 tips, okay? Number 1, don't consume what you cannot identify at 100% certainty. Sounds like common sense, but people still make the same mistake they did ages ago. They just go out, make assumptions, then eat or process a certain type of plant and intoxicate themselves. So never consume anything you didn't identify with 100% certainty, okay? That said, tip number 2, be careful, but don't be fearful. Understand the difference. You should be careful in the sense that you should always look for all the characteristics of a plant. You should work with smell and touch and all these kind of senses. But you should not be fearful in the sense that you're like, oh my god, I just ate something and maybe now I'm gonna die. You know, this doesn't help you. Just stay calm and stay aware. Tip number 3, start small. That means maybe with one particular plant. A plant that's easily identified. So for example, dandelion or clover. Something you know from your childhood. Just take this one plant, isolate that and study that plant. Study its doppelgangers, its lookalikes. And then just move on to the next step. Don't think that you can just take a book and you can go out and you can identify any plant in the world. Nature is so complex and there's so many organisms and also plants that you should keep it simple. And in the beginning you will just learn about 1 or 2 plants a year maybe 5, but it doesn't even matter. It's not about quantity, it's about the quality of your own education, right? So just start with one thing, focus on that up until you mastered this one plant and then move on to the next. That also said, number 4, always keep learning. Never stop. You need to be up to date, because if you take a book like this, for example, that's rather new, so that's from 2016 I think. I will also show you another book right here. There's a cutscene with a book that is almost 100 years old, and those books are not up to date, but they might contain information that's an addition to a book like this, for example, right? So you need to make sure that you keep on reading, that you read up-to-date type of news, right? That you read blog articles and books that are fitting the contemporary time and the scientific standard, right? And that also brings us to point number 5, which is use different sources. Don't base your knowledge on one book alone. I carried these 3 with me today while out foraging, and I got many more at home. And it's kind of like as if you talk about religion, you know? If you're just focusing on one book, like the Bible or the Quran or the Bhagavad Gita, and you build your entire worldview around this one particular book, you have a really narrow horizon, right? But if you read all the books, you can take some knowledge out of this book and out of that book, and you can get this kind of 360-degree look at the world, right? So it's also a bad idea just to buy one book like these and then just go out and say like, yeah, this is it, looks kind of like it, eat it and then get into trouble. Tip number 6, understand the environment. And that's really important, because if you take a look behind me, there's a field and they have been using fertilizers and maybe also pesticides over there earlier in the day. And that's really important to understand, because your surroundings and your soil also has an impact on plants. So if they are just spraying chemicals behind there, those chemicals get into the ground, will be absorbed by the plants and hence contaminate the plants. So just don't look at the plants, but also at the location where you're foraging, right? Point number 7, if you harvested or foraged the first herbs or the first plants, just eat a little. See how you react to this, because you might be allergic. It could be that you get kind of like a rash on your lip, could be that you get stomach cramps. So just start off with a tiny nibble. and then just wait for a day, and if everything's fine, you know, just up the dosage, and by that learn and practice whether you can actually use a certain type of plant. Never just eat an entire handful or just make a spinach or so with a plant you never tried before. So start little there, okay? Point number 8, be mindful at any time. That means don't only use your eyes, you know, don't identify plants just by looking at them, but use your fingers, your sense of touch, your sense of smell, your sense of taste, maybe even your ears, because certain plants make certain sounds. There's kind of like those seed pods of different types of grasses that pop open in the summer. This gives you an indication, for example, for a certain type of plant. So be aware of the bigger picture again, right? Point number 9, respect nature. Should go without saying, but nevertheless make sure that you do respect Mother Earth, because usually there's this rule that you can forage 1/3 of a field of whatever kind of plant, let's say for example wild garlic, but you should also try to limit that to maybe 10% of the entire field. Let nature regrow. Don't just harvest anything as if it was some kind of supermarket in which you can just take everything from the shelf. Be moderate, okay? And number 10, know your local laws, because some plants are protected by law, so don't go out there and just destroy those tiny, fragile organisms, you know, that are protected by law for a very good reason. If they're not common in your area, you should maybe just skip them and learn about a more common plant, alright? So yeah, I hope that's of use to you. I would just say, you know, if you like this, give me a thumbs up. Just leave a comment if you have any kind of question. Make sure you subscribe. And yeah, besides that, I can only say, get busy. Start today and start learning today, because in a year you will realize, wow, it was a great idea to take this decision. I became more self-sufficient. I learned how to use natural remedies for certain types of diseases or for sicknesses like a cold or a flu, right? And it's just a great feeling. So yeah, again, I can only say, if you like this, give it a try. And I say, have a great time outdoors, as usual. Enjoy it. Bye bye.